Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Hey, thanks for having me here, Dan. My name is Narinder, and I'm originally from India, north of Punjab. My family migrated to New Zealand when we were young. And then my family background is farming. So we just always done farming. My parents, my grandparents, and their grandparents going back centuries. And then, that's what I did in New Zealand. And I moved to Australia to do business.
Awesome. So tell me, just more about your business, the QE food stores. I'm curious more about that, like what it is and kind of how you got the idea for it.
Yeah, look, it started with, I'll share a little story. I want to always, growing up, and I was really keen to do business, and I wanted to become a big businessman one day as a growing up around the age of 7, but I didn't know what to do, or at the time anyway. And I think when I was in New Zealand, I was looking to buy an orchard or something, but my dad said, look, we've been in farming business for a long time, and why not do shops? It's easy work, and people collect money all day behind the register. Seems easy. I said, yeah, sure. And then I was looking for buying a business in New Zealand because New Zealand's such a small market, and that led me to think about coming to Australia. So I migrated to Australia in Sydney in 2000. I had no business experience, no prior experience at all, actually, but I came to Australia to do business, and I looked, because I was 19-year-old, had no experience. I was looking for basically any kind of business that I could get into. So say carpet cleaning, a pizza shop, or any business, you name it. My parents we sold our house, and my dad gave me the money to come and do business in Australia. And so it was a tough beginning. I didn't want to spend any of the money my parents gave me to come here to do business. And I thought, worst case scenario, if I don't find anything to do, I'll just go back with the family money and not spend it. So I bought a car, and I lived in a car, and I worked very hard and trying to do different jobs to keep, pay for the expenses and fund my life. And at the same time, I would, get up every Saturday morning, buy newspapers. Back then there was no iPhones and stuff. And then I'll look for businesses. As business owners were willing to sell their business, but the landlords often were not willing to sign a lease for me. So I kept going for about 6 months. Every time I, came close to getting a business deal done, I was knocked back by the landlord. But I never gave up. I kept going because nowadays I describe it, if you keep knocking on the door will eventually open. Back then I didn't know that part, but I just kept knocking the door. So eventually there was a shop on 342 Victoria Street, Darlinghurst. It fit the budget. It was a nice size shop, and then asked the agent to check in with the landlord first to see if he would sign a lease for me. And his name, Bill Anton, who came here after the World War II from Greece, and he felt someone gave him the opportunity. And so he said to the agent, his name was Nick, and he said, this 19-year-old, very hungry from New Zealand, wants to do business. And he said, just sign a lease for him. So when he called me, I was like almost in tears of joy, that finally my opportunity came. And then basically that was the beginning of my first store.
Awesome. So in terms of your first store, right, like, can you talk more about like the concept exactly and the customer experience? Obviously, there are plenty of different food stores. So I'm just curious more about like your store and how it kind of differentiates itself in the market.
Yeah, look, my story a little different where, it was just a very ordinary corner store, run down. I didn't know much strategy, as I mentioned, farming background and stuff, but I was very hungry and eager to learn and grow. So obviously I would fill the shelves, keep the store neat and tidy, worked very, very hard, Dan, for about 3 years. Eventually, I learned that working extremely hard doesn't actually get you somewhere where you want to be. And because I had no formal education in business or anything, but I was keeping my head above water, but I wasn't going to get to where I wanted to get to, and that was to become a big, successful businessman. That's how it started.
Yeah, and I guess I'm curious more about like QE food stores specifically, right? Because there's plenty of food stores, like in terms of just
Yeah.
just, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to lead to
Okay,
now.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
for
sure.
example, fast forward by 2006 and 2007, I decided to take on a business coach to learn the basics of business and the ABC of business. And then basically that's when in 2007, I could say that we started making what is our mission today, quality food shopping made easy. So everything we did is to improve quality and make it easier for our customers to shop with us, basically. And that became like the core fundamental that was driving everything. Although I figured out this term much later, almost in 2012, but that's what started. We started making quality food shopping easy, and that was to talk to customers. What else would they like to see on their shelves? If they couldn't find anything, let us know and we'll get it in for you. And that was just really, really focused, working hard, listening to our customers and doing everything they wanted us to do. At the end of the day, you're in a business to serve customers. If you do everything what the customers want, and that's what really started our business.
Amazing. So in terms of, right, I mean, obviously like that you mentioned, right, that you're selling high quality food. So in terms of like sourcing food, I mean, is that pretty easy for you to do locally, or how exactly, or in terms of like importing costs like that? What are some of those challenges there for you?
Look, there's a number of ways that we source products. One is when you go to competitors and see they've got a new product, and we can contact the same supplier and get that product on your shelf if we like it. But we also get approached by a lot of our local distributors and wholesalers and farmers of produce. Basically, we're based in Sydney markets, as you can see the background. This is Sydney markets in Sydney. So we source most of our fresh fruit and vegetables here, and then a lot of the dairy, like other products, are all basically sourced from the local distributors. Even imported products from the US, there are importers who obviously import products from Europe and US and other parts of the world, but they will approach us because they feel that our stores would be suitable for their product. So it's a combination of many things. And a lot of time, customers will send us an email, say, hey, I've heard about this product. People get these requests, like they watch a podcast and they find a product and it's like, hey, do you have this product? And then we will go out and source that product for our customers.
How do you balance that out? Because I'm sure you probably get a good amount of requests, because there's, obviously, like, I mean, we're, working in e-commerce, CPG, it's like there's so much innovation happening in that space. So how do you kind of like distinguish if it makes sense? Because you only have so much shelf space, right?
Absolutely. Look, it does have to fit in with our range criteria, which is, fundamentally it's got to make quality food shopping easy. All right. So we very much a food business. So it's got to be around food. So if you ask us to source this fancy rubber band, well, maybe not, or a product that isn't like a hammer or a hardware store product or something, we're not going to go out and get. And in that case, we just let the customer know it doesn't fit in within our range criteria. But most of the time, like 95% of the time or more, customers very intelligent. They know what product they're requesting.
But do you get like a lot of requests from different people, or is it just like once you get like, I don't know, 10 different requests for the same product, and okay, now it's time to go look at it? Because I'm sure you probably have many people who are asking for different things.
Yeah, look, not really. If you send us an email requesting a product, we will look at that product and we'll look at, okay, well, what type of product it is. We look at if we've got a similar product, or we can get this product at a slightly better price, and it's actually logistically it's got to make sense, because obviously if you just the one product and we got to get that in, there's a minimum orders, and then shelf life of the product. Can we meet the minimum orders? How easy it is to get that product delivered on the shelf? So there's a lot more operational stuff we got to think about as well. But if often two things happen. If you send us an email, we'll contact the supplier, we go through the process, and if it fits in within our range criteria, we've got a gap. It's got to differentiate our range. In other words, if we've got something similar on a product, then we're very loyal to the people that we're already working with.
Exactly.
It has to improve our range.
For sure. And then like what's been like obviously you've been in business now for some time and you've grown, you have multiple locations, but even if you can go back in the early days or even now, it's like, how have you kind of been able to drive foot traffic into your stores?
Up until now, traditionally been a brick and mortar store, so largely in-store experience has been the biggest play. So I always saw paying rent on a high street is our marketing. That's our marketing budget. The rent I always saw as a marketing, because you have a huge exposure on a high street, people walking past. So we never really had to do any advertising or marketing to drive foot traffic. The most important thing is just the in-store experience had to be good. The number one thing our customers look for is product range. They want to see innovation in product range, and then customer service and all those other store layout and other things come into play. But number one most important thing for our customers always been innovation in product range.
Right. So now, especially if you're opening up new locations, it's all about that real estate. It's understanding that, hey, like it needs to be in a great location, somewhere where people can clearly see it right then and there. That way it's not going to get missed if somebody's walking or driving by.
Absolutely. It's got to be in affluent areas, high disposable income areas, because we're not, we are like a gourmet specialty grocery retailing stores, not your bulk and a cheaper goods. So it has to be in high disposable income areas, affluent, high street, average age, say 36, and a demographic ratio of, because 65% of our customers are female with the primary school kids. So we need to make sure that the demographic actually really fits before we make the decision to open a new store.
For sure. And you were saying, right, that kind of recently you've delved into more of the online shopping that you're offering people to order, either through your website or Uber Eats. So what has that been like for you?
A huge shift since COVID. I think a lot of customers wanted to have that quick e-commerce service. And so Uber had Uber Eat, and now we're looking to join DoorDash as well. It has become a significant part of our sales and the way customers do their shopping. I believe that the customers are, always going to come to our physical stores 80% of the time, but the other 20% of the time they're just busy, they don't want to leave the house, and they can get delivery within 30 minutes is the average time for delivery. So customers are spending roughly about 20% of their spend on Uber Eats.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think, just to your point, right? I think since COVID, people kind of got comfortable with that. I mean, obviously with grocery stores, to your point, people always want to get that in-store experience because most customers, and I can speak for myself, want to go to the store, pick out the fruits and vegetables that they like, because when you're hiring someone else, especially through like a third-party app, they don't often know exactly like what your preferences are, or substitutions can get missed, things like that. So it's much easier to go and do it yourself.
Definitely. Saying that, Dan, all those things have improved a lot. I mean, we can fulfill almost 90% of your order without substitution.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because the inventory is very much live. So whatever you're ordering, you're very likely to get it.
Right. Makes sense. So obviously now we're in a new year, 2025. What are some of your biggest goals and objectives for this year?
To make our product and services available more of like an omnichannel strategy. So we want to be on more marketplaces like Uber, DoorDash, Menulog, and others, as well as drive direct online business, because I see that's where the opportunity is. It's a very much a hybrid model.
But are you looking at like other channels, let's just say, food service, things like that, or even opening up more locations potentially?
Absolutely. That's look, because of the higher interest rates over the last couple of years, brick and mortar stores cost a lot of money to open, to borrow, and it hasn't been making sense in terms of where the interest rate's been. So we're waiting for our interest rate cuts here in Australia. I think they're starting next year or this year now. So then, our plan is to keep growing. Our goal is to generate $200 million turnover by 2030. But
what about what about channels like food service or like catering, for example?
Yes. We have another business called Own Brand Distribution. So we are looking at a brand called Nourish Me Foods, which is ready-to-eat meals, so which we are looking to supply to other retailers. Currently, we only sell it in our store. So our manufacturing facility is in Sydney Markets, where we produce all our fresh cut, ready to go, grab and go meals and that kind of stuff. So now we're looking at supplying those products to other retailers, as well as setting up multiple e-commerce platforms for different range of products that we actually make in-house.
Okay. Awesome. So what would you say like overall was the biggest challenge that you currently face in your business?
The biggest challenge. Staffing has been a big challenge over the last since COVID because unemployment rate still is historically the lowest it's been. So that's been a challenge. And I think, yeah, generally economic, like interest rates been a challenge. You could say that we could have grown faster if they were a bit lower. I'm sure that's a story for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
But those are the two main ones, I think.
In terms of staffing, like I'm always curious about that. Like how do you find good people, especially like in this market, in this economy where, there is so much turnover. So what have you done to kind of make those like adjustments to really hire like the right people and to keep, like your stores full in terms of staff?
Yeah, look, hiring is our turnover historically been the lowest, and I put that down to the strong culture that we have. We have strong values. We are learners. We treat you the way we would like to be treated. We're very passionate. We respect each other, and we are very responsive and fast moving, and we don't hold grudges. So I could talk about it. We call it an anthem. So we sing the anthem of a QE anthem, like a purpose, mission, vision, values, and everything. So people really do experience all their decisions are made based on values. And so I think we have a very, very strong culture. Therefore, that led to the lowest staff turnover compared to industry standards. All right.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, very low. But that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges in staff. So we still, 90% of our staff are actually recruited through referrals, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
It's been that good that most of our staff always refer somebody they know. And 95% of our senior management roles have all started at the cash register.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So, promoting people from within. So we created that strong culture. People do referrals. And like I said, 95% of our people working in their current roles in the office are all started at the register as a cashier.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's great. The fact that you guys are able to give opportunities to people and promote from within. That's something that we also try and do internally here is like hire through referrals, promote people that come from within. It's always better when, somebody understands your company and your culture and your values, mission, internally, and they can grow with you as opposed to getting somebody external, which, sometimes can work, but oftentimes, they might not understand the organization and the structure as well.
Yeah. So obviously, one is depending on whether you get the candidates through online platforms or referral, then we have a very strict criteria process like doing personality a test and character test and reference check and do a trial. We do a Gallup Strength Finder, for example. We do a lot of these different tests to make sure their compatibility within our team. Highly recommend. But we've been using Preview. It's a Canadian software. Man, it's an amazing, it cost us $360 a month and you can do as many as you want. And I wouldn't hire a single person without having a platform like that or another one maybe, and any senior management role that we hire, we always do your Gallup Strength Finder, which is an American company, obviously. So we do all these tests and our recruitment process is slow, but I think that's what makes it effective as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to take your time with hiring, but sometimes with firing, you just know right away if that person's not a fit. You just gotta pull the
You're right.
trigger.
Straight away, after a week, if you got it right or not.
Yeah. So if you could go back in time to before you got started, like what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Single biggest. That's a very good question. Look, I think personally, I probably wouldn't change anything because I think I enjoyed the learnings that I have come along the way. If I could just reverse everything and then I'd probably miss out on a lot of learnings, I wouldn't be who I am today. But I would say that discover what drives you earlier, like your purpose, your mission, your vision, your values, and have a mentor. Invest in yourself. I wish I started educating myself a little earlier.
Amazing. So if
Although that's
somebody,
no regret, I'm 43 and I have more ambition to grow bigger and better now. But I feel like, why didn't I start studying a little bit earlier?
yeah, you guys are doing great. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you or wanted to check out your store, what's the best way to find you or to get in contact?
Yeah, mate, you could visit our website, www.kiwifoodstores.com.au, or I can be contacted on email, pm@kiwifoodstores.com.au. And I've never been overly active on social media platforms, but I'm trying to get into LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is a great channel. Like I love LinkedIn. Well, Narinder, thanks so much for your time today, and good luck in 2025.
Thank you for having me. You
Of
have a good day.
course.
All right.
Thanks.
Or
You
good
too.
evening in your part of the world.
Exactly. Thank you.